What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Cosmic Den. I'm your host, Ro, and today we're going to talk, as you can see on the screen, about 10 signs you're dating a red pillar. So let's get into this. This is by a Sasha Konikova. I believe that's how you pronounce that, with my 2 years of Russian language instruction. So, this is on vocal.media under the relationships articles. And this just seems like another The Odyssey online where users get to post article type things. Nothing too serious. However, I really like these because it gives us an idea of what is happening in the mind of an average woman. So it helps extrapolate things from that. So terpers, also known as red pillars, are not good people. Here are the warning signs you're dating a red pillar and need to dump him. Ooh. All right. So that's a pretty standard idea that women get when they find out about things like the red pill and MGTOW. So once in a blue moon, people will see a philosophy that is so toxic, it's incompatible with having healthy relationships. It's rare, but it happens. Sadly, it also happens with increasing frequency now that most people get their love and life advice from the internet. The red pill, which was originally a forum started on Reddit, I'm not sure if that's true. I think the manosphere may have came first. Like old sites, PUA sites really, is one of those kinds of philosophies, known for being misogynistic and hateful towards women. So, a little bit about that. Yes, there are people that are misogynistic and hateful towards women in the red pill, just like there are people that are misandrists and hateful towards men in feminism. So it's really just a very vocal minority. The red pill espouses ideas that advocate for rape, claims that women only want men who have money, and also maintains a strong belief that women are inferior and unable to determine what they want. So there's a bit to unpack here. None of the ideas espouse that they advocate for rape. That's just patently false. I don't think I've ever read a single thing in Red Pill Lit that says, hey guys, you should go rape people. That's fucking awesome. That's just ridiculous. Women don't only want men who have money. Obviously, money helps. However, women will oftentimes date on someone who has the potential to make money, even if they don't. However, what does a woman get out of a relationship? Well, resources. So why is it so wrong to say, hey, there's a trend that's been going on here since time immemorial, and it's that women like men who have resources, and also maintains a strong belief that women are inferior. Women aren't inferior. Let's get that out of the way right now. To say they're inferior would mean that they're comparable, and they're just different. That's all there is to it. And unable to determine what they want. So I was in a relationship for 5 years, and I dated since then as well. And I will be able to say that most, if not all of the women I dated did not know what they wanted. Whether it was something as simple as what they want to watch, or something as serious as where the relationship is heading. They just didn't fucking know, so it was up to me to make the decisions. Anyway, Simply put, it's a forum that regularly advocates for mental, physical, and emotional abuse as ways to control women. Dating a red pillar, or as they're also called, a terper. I've never heard that before. That sounds retarded. I don't believe that. Maybe it's true. TRP. Oh, maybe she means TRPer. That would make more sense. 'Cause a terper? That just sounds so stupid. So terper is a good way to become a victim of domestic abuse. I hate the word abuse and how it's used today. Like, women can just cry abuse all they want. You don't even have to abuse them. They can just not like what you're saying. And verbal abuse. Anyone who believes in sex positivity, feminism, or even wants to have a healthy relationship will tell you to avoid red pill men. I'd say red pill men are pretty sex positive. They're certainly not prudes. Feminists. I could make a whole video on feminism, and I probably will. So I'm not going to get into that right now. And healthy relationships. One has to answer that. One has to define what a healthy relationship is. So again, I can make a whole video about that. I'm not going to get into it. I really want to get to these things. The problem is that it's not always easy to tell who's been reading the forum and who hasn't been. I mean, if you're a newbie and you just got into the red pill, I think it's pretty fucking easy to tell you've been reading it. Oh god. You can call everyone like an alpha cock. That doesn't make sense. It's like, hey, look at that chat over there. Hey, that guy's a fucking beta cuck. That's how they talk. Although, interestingly enough, those words have bled into the mainstream consciousness, the mainstream zeitgeist. So, is it that easy now? Anyway, speaking from someone who has encountered plenty of them, wow, this person rides the cock carousel. Little term for you. It can take a keen eye to see the signs you're dating one of these people. Here are some of the most obvious ones, and I don't know what that is, but who cares? One of the most obvious signs you're dating a red pillar is his attitude towards the opposite sex. Red pillars don't see women as equals, and in many cases, won't even see them as real people with feelings. Now, that might be the case for some individuals. Personally, when I get into a relationship, I approach them as individuals, and the knowledge that I've gained from things like the red pill and MGTOW is in the back of my head. So the relationship is just approached as an in-the-moment interaction. And if I notice things that I've learned, then I might start to make decisions based off of prior knowledge. However, I definitely see them as equals, but we are different. And they certainly do have feelings. Jesus Christ. Certainly real people with feelings. So I think that's just wrong. Most of the time, red pill users will accidentally let their beliefs about women slip through casual conversation. And if any of you guys say any of this shit, Jesus Christ, leave that shit on the internet, okay? Leave this to the forums. And if you want any success with women, don't say this shit, even if you think it, because, again, this is how you get articles like this. Right. Make decisions based off the knowledge, but don't become an evangelical person, because our pussy will go from wet to Sahara. So let's see. They may say things along the lines of, women don't really like men unless they're a millionaire. This goes back to the disproven red pill belief. Where the fuck has that been disproven? I need to know that. Women are hypergamous. Women will only date up. I don't think I've ever met a single woman who has dated down. It just doesn't happen. Find me a woman who consistently dates down. Please. And then I will shut up about that. Or that women will only be attracted to people who have higher social status or larger paychecks than they do. Yeah, it's an issue nowadays because women are getting really great jobs. Good on them. However, since women don't date down, there's only a small percentage of men who fit their requirements to date. So now you got all these women that are making more money going after the elite set of men that make more money than them, and that's just a small portion of the population. Anyway, you're emotional. Ugh, why do women have to be so sensitive? See, like, that's just. And obviously, this shit is being made up by her. She's writing. Like, I'd be hard pressed to find someone who actually says this stuff in real life. However, you're so emotional. Why do women have to be so sensitive? Like, that is just something said without tact at all. Again, it's fine to think these things. However, when you're in the middle of a dance that is the conversation, have some tact. Don't have two left feet and step all over your partner's foot. Ironic as it may be, the angry men of the red pill tend to project their own sensitivities onto women. And yeah, at the beginning of the red pill journey, it definitely is common to be angry. Jesus Christ. Definitely is common to be angry. It's so common, in fact, that it is a part of the journey. It's called the anger journey. The anger phase, if you will. Yeah, anger phase. So yeah, maybe she's just dating men who just got started TRP. And this is also a common tactic abusers use in order to minimize their wrongdoing. So that should tell you plenty. Yeah, like, sometimes women will not... Most of the time, women don't enjoy it when men have feelings. So what's with the double standard? Yeah. Anyway. She slept with someone. Sorry, I can't marry that. Now, I've never met a single man in my entire life. 24 years. 23. I'm almost 24. She slept with someone. Sorry, I can't marry that. If there's a guy who only wants virgins, that's just not going to fucking happen. Not just that. In my entire life, never met anyone who has said that. That's just so stupid. It is healthy for a woman to have engaged in at least 1 to 2 partners or something, a low number like that, by the time they're in their early 20s to mid 20s. Something like that. That would be great. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I think what she means to say is she slept with 50 people by the time she's 20. Sorry, I can't marry that. Now that would make more sense. Slut shaming is a key component of the red pill philosophy, as it should be. It should be a key component of the human philosophy, of the cultural philosophy that we have, because sluts are bad for the species. Yeah, they might have more children, which at the surface level seems excellent as far as species survival goes. However, these kids that are being spawned will not be very helpful members of society. They more than likely will be raised with just a mom. And there's studies that have shown that children, mainly sons, who do not have that parental figure end up committing more crimes and getting into more trouble. So that has a lot of lasting consequences. We should slut shame. Women should be, and men as well, should be shamed when they do something that is wrong. So not all men Not all men do bad things. True, but almost all women have experienced that. Red pillars can't stand the truth. You can't handle the truth. Not all men do bad things. Yeah, almost all men have experienced women doing bad things, and yet sometimes on forums geared towards males, you'll have the occasional woman who I honestly don't think they're chameleons. Some of them are, and they'll be like, well, yeah, not all women are like that. Some women are good. It's just a stupid saying. Anyway, he constantly talks about men's rights, but decries feminism. There's nothing wrong with wanting equal rights for all genders, but there is something wrong with wanting more rights for one gender than there are for others. And that's the issue people have with men's rights. Because it sounds like she just described what feminism really is. Is it trying to get more rights to have fair family courts for men? Is it trying to get more rights to give men the option to opt out of being a parent if some one night stand tries to trap him, or a crazy girlfriend tries to trap him into like marriage or having a child? Those don't seem like wanting more rights. Those seem like wanting to be a bit more equal with the fair gender. Now, is it wanting more rights to make it a mandate that these top companies have to have a certain quota of women on the boards? Yes. That just spits in the face of meritocracy. Most men's rights activists actively ignore the facts when it comes to the systemic oppression of genders that aren't their own. They don't see that men have rights that women don't. That is false. Show me if any SJW woman or feminist has seen this. Womanism. Womanist has seen this, and they get this far without wanting to castrate me. Show me what rights we as men have that women don't. And if anyone says any fucking thing about the wage gap, I will personally open up a wormhole that just engulfs the earth, because at that point we just don't deserve to be humans anymore. No, but seriously, at one point I worked at a place that I will not name. Let's just say that they're known for making smoothies, and a lot of the places are royalty. if you can figure out where I worked from that. So I worked with primarily women, and there was no wage gap. We were all being paid the exact same. What does that say? One, the wage gap is fucking false. The way they got it is that they just averaged what all the men make, they averaged what all the women make, they found 75 cents on the dollar. But they didn't take into consideration anything else that might have led to that number. Different jobs, different hours worked, etc. It is just a very misleading number. So the vast majority of red pill men see women as an enemy or something to control. This belief clearly adds to a foundation of a toxic relationship. You cannot really love someone who you hate or see as an enemy on principle alone. So, the only thing I disagree with here is the vast majority of red pill men see women that way. I think once you get past the anger phase and once you start dating a bit, you start to mellow out a little bit. Controlling people, which is impossible, you can't really control anyone, does in fact lead to a toxic relationship. Honestly, I hate myself for using that word because it's just become such a nebulous word to say toxic. Like, however, yes, it does lead to an unhealthy relationship when you just try to control your partner. Now, controlling and setting boundaries are completely different. I do think you should have boundaries. However, and if she breaks through them, you say, "Hey, if you do that again, I'm leaving you." Then you gotta leave, because then that leads to a toxic relationship. If you don't, if there's one thing that the red pill teaches, it's to be aggressive when pursuing women. Yeah, of course you should be aggressive. You shouldn't be a fucking rapist. You should be aggressive though. Who would a chick rather date? Someone who is confident and keeps going after her, or some just fucking Joe Schmo who's like, you want to go on a date? Well, obviously, if there's initial attraction, if they're the same amount of attractiveness and she's attracted, she will go for the confident guy who's pursuing rather than the unconfident guy. However, the initial attraction, you have to meet her standard to get your foot in the door. That's all there is to it. On the surface, this may seem like a good thing. It could help shy guys ask a woman out on a date, sure. But when put into practice, it gets ugly. This is how sexual assault happens, and sadly, one of the signs you're dating a red pillar is that he doesn't understand that consent matters. That's just fucking bullshit. Come on. Who is this lady trying to kid? If anything, red pill men are extremely concerned about consent because they're trying to not get Me Too'd. Or he may think that 50 no's and a yes is still a yes. Yeah, it's a yes. Either way, it's sexual abuse. I wouldn't go that far. See, anything could be abused to these women. You're getting the vibe that he has control issues and anger issues. Reading toxic stuff. And again, these angry people, the people that try to be really controlling, tend to be individuals who are neophytes. They're new to these ideas. So sometimes they might be overcompensating because their entire life had been spent being the complete opposite of red pill. And I know that for a fact because when I was first introduced to this stuff, I was 17, and prior to that, I'd just been the biggest beta bitch ever. So when I got to college, I did overcompensate, and yeah, I learned from it. Somehow still ended up hooking up with people, and now I'm just a lot more chill about red pill stuff. I'm not as angry as I was. So when it comes to red pill, the most common ways it affects men is their outlook on life. Though the red pill promises to give men peace of mind and a better sense of confidence, and it does do that. If you stick with it long enough, it does. As long as you get out of the anger phase, it turns men into bitter, angry, insecure, and hateful people. In most cases, men will eventually cast that anger outward, usually taking it out on family members. Now, if that isn't the biggest load of baloney I ever heard, put that shit on a sandwich. Jesus Christ. No. Well, unfortunately, I don't know too many red-pilled men in real life. However, I can speak personally that I have never lashed out against my family members after learning this stuff. Like, for what reason? That's just ridiculous. Like, I really wish I knew where she was getting her information from. Most women who have experienced dating red pill can tell you that's not only bad for women, It's terrible for a man's mental health. That patently false. It tends to help most people. Seeing reality and understanding how things work is much better than leading a life of delusion and being confused every time one's relationship sours and just repeating the cycle over and over again. And that can lead someone just bonkers. The most insidious thing that Red Pill does is advocate for abusive tactics for men to get their way. It's not surprising that many Red Pill followers get divorced due to their abusive behavior. So I think what she's talking about here is that a lot of married men, their relationships start to turn negative. So he goes on the internet, looks up, how can I fix my relationship? And he might find a Manosphere forum or the Red Pill subreddit. And then he attempts to implement these behaviors. Now, his wife is used to Beta Billy and his behaviors. So when there's this asymmetry between established behavior and new behavior, she doesn't accept it. She reverts to the old behavior. He's still a little bitch in her eyes. And now he's acting all weird. So I think that is why they end up divorcing. The guy just doesn't get his way. So he's like, fuck it. Or the woman is already seeing someone, or she's tired of him, and she's like, fuck it. So they advocate for dread gaming, which works, by the way. If you don't know what dread gaming is, check it out. Used it many times. It works. Just pretending like you want to leave the relationship to get your way. It only works to an extent. Women aren't dumb. So if they pick up on the pattern that whenever something doesn't go your way, then they might start to see past the trick, if you will. And yes, it is extremely manipulative and is not a good thing to do. However, it does work. They also suggest that men openly refuse to help women when asked. They generally promote verbal abuse. See, again, that nebulous word, verbal abuse. What does it mean? Can you give us examples? No, she doesn't. She doesn't give a single example. Red pill men do not want to lift up their partners. Yeah, because you put in all that work, and then they're all higher status in their eyes, so then they go look to be hypergamous. You're just going to help someone so they can go out and shove someone else's cock in their hole? No, don't do that. They are sad people who only feel strong if they beat down on people who care about them. I don't know where that's coming from. Beat down on people who care about them? Jesus Christ, making them sound like a sadist. If you find yourself feeling gaslighted, hurt, ignored, or otherwise manipulated, then chances are very high you're dating a red pillar. Or perhaps if you find anyone doing those things, you might be dating someone who is mentally unstable. Sure, a red pillar can be unstable, as it is a pivotal moment in their lives. However, not every person who subscribes to these ideas is unstable and is going to hurt you. Maybe, just possibly, Sasha over here does not know how to choose good men. Of course, she will never say that. It's always the man's fault. So he's using terms that are associated with red pill. I mentioned this a little bit earlier with the alpha, beta, cuck, plate hitting the wall, gynocentric. I like those terms. They're very descriptive. However, the world is not black and white like these terms. There are a lot of nuances. In many cases, they will also shrug off things saying, hey, all women are like that. Did she just AWOLed? Yeah, she did. She just AWOLed. And I don't think all women are like that. However, we can create generalizations that do fit a large portion of a majority. Most people are average. So that goes to follow that most people will probably engage in average behaviors. This goes for both men and women. That's all there is to it. This is a classic red pill phrase that they use to try to make it sound like your negative reaction to abuse isn't their problem, even when it is. I've seen this applied to a lot of things. It's not just a negative reaction to abuse. Sometimes a guy can be doing everything right, be a good husband, and this woman will be hypergamous, leave the husband, boom, AWOL. It's not just a negative reaction to abuse. You know how you can tell someone clearly wants to have power over someone? It is often shown in their body language or the way they react when asked for help. Red pill men are very known for their inflexibility and their tendency to pull power moves to make women feel inferior, as if women don't do that themselves. This entire article is just shitting on red pill men and not even taking into account that women are some of the most manipulative people on the planet. And again, two wrongs don't make a right. However, it should be considered as well. And flexibility. Yeah, having standards, being persistent in what is wrong to you is evidently a power move. In truth, their dominance moves are nothing more than a power grab. That's the thing about red pill readers. They start to constantly crave power. They are also told to grab control by any means necessary. Yeah, if you have to fucking punch her in the face, you punch her in the face. No. That's an extreme example, obviously. Just being hyperbolic. Which often translates to really awful manipulative tactics. And I wish she would go into it so I could break that down a bit more. The biggest I can think of is Dread Game, which is manipulative. However, women will oftentimes be talking to multiple guys. That is a form of dread game in and of itself. And again, two wrongs don't make a right. However, this does even the playing field a little bit. So he refuses to spend a single cent on you. I don't think there's anything wrong with spending a small amount of money on women. Like if you go for a date, Personally, I rarely, if ever, spend money on women. Mainly because I'm a broke college student. However, when I did have money and I did feel like spending it, I would. That was because I wanted to spend it. And not because society had instilled within me this feeling as though I need to be the one to pay. If I didn't feel like paying for them, then I'd say, hey, well, I'm going to pay for me, you got to pay for you. And if they don't like that, well, they can fuck off. That's really all there is to it. You don't have to supplicate just for some pussy. There are 7 and some change billion people on the planet. Half of them are women. And that goes with the whole not putting kitty cats on a pedestal. Because there's another one, a hotter, tighter, sexier, younger woman on the horizon. You just gotta walk a little bit. I remember one time I did an experiment to see just how many hot girls I would spot on my way to class. And of course, it's a little bit biased since I was on a college campus. However, I recall that number, and it was something in the range of 23. And these are women that I personally would have had sex with. There were, of course, a lot more women, and everyone's standards are different. So don't get caught up on a single person. Because even if you're not just all about the looks, then there will be a cooler, smarter, funnier woman, again, right around the corner. You can do better. They will often ask women to spend money on them or regularly forget their wallet at home. That's some pussy shit. That's some stuff you shouldn't be doing. If you don't want to pay for someone, that's fine. However, lying about it, I personally just don't like liars. Or they will actively brag about refusing to spend money on dates. Obviously, this isn't attractive. Though this could just be a sign of a cheapskate. Cheapskate. It's also one of those more reliable signs that you're dating a red pillar. Toxic masculinity turns you into a cheapskate, yeah? Yeah. I don't think that's true. Or maybe I don't say toxic masculinity because I just don't buy into that concept. However, a lot of women use men for free dates and shit, and they're perfectly fine with it, or free drinks. So these men are wising up, saying, "Hey, if you wanna be like a whore, whatever. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna exchange goods and service money just for the prospect of maybe." And oftentimes it's not even that. They just want the stuff to get in your pants. I'm not gonna do it. And somehow that's toxic masculinity. Yeah, I don't think it's toxic masculinity to not give the first woman we meet immediate access to our resources. That's just common sense. Marriage, statistically speaking, is more beneficial to. Oh, this is the part that I wanted to get to. Statistically speaking, it's more beneficial to men than it is to women. Married men live longer than single women. Yeah, because the woman stops the man from eating, like shit. Have higher paychecks, yeah, because the man now has to provide for two people and potentially some kids and a house and all this shit. And they also have overall happier standard of life. That's bullshit. I have met many married men and many divorced men. And although they don't often outright tell me not to get married, some of the divorced men do. You can tell from the way they talk about their marriages that it was not the happiest time. Or men will say some simp shit like, "Oh yeah, the old wife, the old ball and chain got me in the doghouse, shit like that. How is that happy? How is it happy to be treated like a slave? It's not. Working for what? For pussy? I can understand working for your children. That makes sense. I personally probably won't have children ever in my life or get married. However, it's a very thankless job to be a husband, to be a father. I think my dad, whenever we spend time together, not every time, I don't want to be weird, but I do make sure to let him know that I'm thankful. However, I don't think a lot of people do that. And I think fathers oftentimes are taken for granted. So, shockingly, most men resist marriage. Yeah, they should. And that number should continue to increase until women get the idea that, hey, maybe we're doing something wrong. So, what makes the red pill different from just a general dislike or mistrust of marriage? Though, is the level of hatred they have for it. For good reason. Red pillers are extremely against marriage and will claim it's a trap. It is. It is a trap. Women have fought for the ability to have more advantages in family court and divorce court. Like, in what world should you be guaranteed half of the stuff that I've worked for when you've just been sitting on your ass all day? Or if you've been taking care of the house, in what world does that deserve half of my shit? It doesn't. It's theft because the man whom they're taking the money from does not want to give them the money. They don't deserve it. If they have children, again, even that's fucking theft. Maybe you shouldn't have had kids with someone who you weren't going to stick with. However, I'm fine with it, I guess. Not mandated child. Uh, Gosh, what is the word? Child money is the best thing I can think of right now. My brain's kind of fried. However, having a dad, if he wants to give money to help his kids out, child support, there you go, then yeah, that's perfectly fine. If he wants to, if he doesn't, well then tough luck. Get a job. If you notice if you notice seething anger at the term marriage, you're probably dating a red pillar or a divorced man. He equates sex with success. That's actually true. Credit where credit is due. A lot of neophytes, a lot of early adopters of the red pill do equate sex with success, and that makes sense. It is a ideology, more like a tool set that focuses primarily on sexual strategy. Sure, there's a lot more to it. However, at the end of the day, red pill men are still dating, looking for casual relationships. So it makes sense that they might use sex as a sort of measuring pole to see how well they're doing and if these tactics really work. Anyway, I don't think it's the best measure of success for life. Meaningless sex is not worth much. So the red pill isn't for men who are healthy and happy. It's for men who are sad, insecure, weak, and lonely. And yeah, they adopt it and then they turn into healthy, happier men. Especially with the red pill telling everyone to lift every second of the day, which is a good thing. If they were happy with the way life was going, they wouldn't need to look up this kind of advice online. Blah, 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 bullshit. One of the final signs of dating red pillars, he deals with his attitude towards sex. Does he seem like it is an indicator of success or as a way to dominate women? If so, he's a T. Oh, okay, I get it. Terper is actually TRP. This idiot just spelled it weirdly. Because T, but it's like hyphens around, quotes around the T, the TE. Then R is supposed to be by itself. So TR per. It's just stupid. I hate it. Anyway, that is 10 signs you're dating a red pill hombre by Sasha Konikova. It goes without saying that you should not message this person or abuse them or harass them or whatever. Especially since it was 2 years ago. She probably doesn't even remember that she wrote this. However, yeah. Keep it cool. Keep it on this channel. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day. This has been Ro. You've been watching The Cosmic Den. Peace the fuck out. Little dodge to TJ. All right.